Everybody. Happy holidays. Thank you for joining us today, Thursday, December 16th, ADU1's City Spotlight webinars. So what we've been doing is every week highlighting a certain city's ADU rules. So I'm Helen. I'm part of ADU1 and Retrofit 1, as well as Repipe 1 Restoration. And we do, general contracting, seismic retrofitting, ADUs, water damage restoration, reconstruction, pretty much everything you need. So thank you again for joining us. Today's city spotlight is Santa Monica, which I think is a great city for accessory dwelling units. Obviously, one, it's Santa Monica, the beach, the weather. It has the community college as well as close proximity to UCLA. So a lot of colleges nearby, good market rents. And of course, I know that there is has its own rent control, but the use will be under the new construction rules. So you are exempt from that for quite some time. So you could yield really good rents in Santa Monica. So depending on I know I never know which side the chat is on, but if you're on YouTube, there is a chat room in case you have any questions at any time. Hopefully, a lot of it will be covered. We're going to cover the ADU rules for single family homes as well as multifamily. So you can see just how many ADUs you can add depending on what type of property, sizes, guidelines, numbers, things like that. So again, feel free to ask questions at any time, and I will also put our contact information in case a specific property question you would like to get to. So to begin, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to be reading directly off of the city's ordinance, so that way if you reference it in the future, it's exactly what we are going over together. So let's begin. Okay, hopefully you can see this. Let me see what it looks like. Sorry that it's not too big. This program isn't going to let me make it any bigger. But basically, this is Santa Monica Municipal Code for accessory dwelling units with single family homes and multifamily. I will just kind of go over the related to your specific property and the questions that we often get. Anything else, if you need clarification, just let me know. So let me see. So we can start with single family homes. A lot of this to anything that differs from the state law, I will point out. But of course, all cities are based off of the state law, which came about last year in 2020. So they're only really allowed to develop these standards within the parameters of the state law. But anything, any variation that they are able to do, I'll point out if and when I see it. So for single family homes, just as state law applies, single family homes can basically do one ADU, attached or detached. That's the general rule. Like all other cities, in this case, it does say one ADU or one JADU, a junior ADU, may be constructed on a lot with single family homes. Under the single family home, again, this is the same as the state law. And so in Santa Monica, attached, detached, and then the junior ADU category. For attached, basically can be a conversion. So you can convert your attached garage and attached storage. Or for single family homes, it can be new construction that's attached to the home itself. In this case, it's describing it. The attached ADU can be new construction. Think of it as an addition, basically, if you want to put an addition and it's a structure of the home. Or again, it could be a conversion, which they describe as established within the footprint of a proposed single unit dwelling. And it could be established by converting some space as well. So you can also do a detached ADU. And in this case, you can't have an attached ADU and a detached ADU. You have to choose one of those. So a detached ADU can be new construction, or it can be converting, such as, in this case, a detached accessory structure. In most cases, that would be a detached garage. If you have a large enough permitted storage area, you could use that as well. So for single family homes in Santa Monica, You can do an attached conversion, attached new construction, such as an addition. And I guess they're also saying within the footprint of the home, so maybe through habitable space, Santa Monica is allowing, but I'll double check on that. And so the case with junior ADUs. So all across the board for junior ADUs are a way in order to get two ADUs on a lot with single family homes. However, there's a few restrictions when it comes to junior ADUs. The first one that stands out the most is that the property has to be owner occupied. So the owner has to live in either the single family home or the proposed junior ADU. ADU is also limited to 500 square feet. I don't think it says that right now. It may later, but that's pretty much the state law. A junior ADU limited to 500 square feet. It does have owner occupancy requirements. And then the third is that, as it's described here, it has to be within the footprint of the house through a conversion. I don't know exactly what they mean, or because I don't know off the top of my head what other possibilities there would be besides converting. However, what I do know for junior ADUs, you are allowed to close off some of the existing homes. So let's say you have a master bedroom with a connected bath. You can partition that off, put some drywall, close it off. It does have to have at least an efficiency kitchen, but you can use habitable space for a junior ADU. Or you can also use an attached garage, actually. You can convert an attached garage as long as it's no more than 500 square feet, and you can have that. Some cities, I'll see what Santa Monica says, but some will allow you to do that attached garage as a junior ADU and a detached ADU. Some cities have restrictions on the configuration of the regular ADU if you are also doing a junior ADU. So it just depends on the city. But the junior ADU is your, pathway to two ADUs on your property. Again, owner occupancy is the main one. So let's see. With multifamily dwellings, the main difference between the configurations for ADUs for multifamily and single family are that multifamily, the attached ADUs are basically called conversions. You cannot do new construction and attach it to the structure of the multifamily building. You also cannot expand the existing structure of a multifamily building. You have to leave the multifamily property as is. Its footprint has to be kept as is. You can only do conversions within the building and or detached conversions or new construction. And there's a building separation rule also. So again, you cannot manipulate the multifamily property. You cannot change its existing building in that manner. You can only do conversions, as it says here on part 2A, and 2B says detached. So the conversions for your rules, you are allowed to do up to 25% of your existing number of units. So that's something that the multifamily buildings have that single family don't. Single family general rule is one ADU unless you're owner occupied and can do the junior. Multifamily properties, you can do much more depending on your existing number of units. So for those conversions, aka attached, you can do at least one or up to 25%. So if you have a 7-unit building with storage garage, you can convert that area into one. But once you have 8 or more units, really when the 25% rolls in. If you have 8 units, you can do 2 attached, 12 units, 3 attached, and so forth. We've even proposed 10 ADUs on some properties when they have more than 40 units. So we've seen it all, and we'll let you know how feasible that is in your area, as long as your building is a conforming property. So in this case, for Santa Monica, you can do, again, conversions for multifamily and detached ADUs, up to 2 detached ADUs. That can be new construction or it can be conversions. You can convert carports, storage, garages, and you can do new construction, either standalone, ground floor. You can do 2-story ADUs. You can even build on top of garages and carports. So I'm not sure if you saw my email blast, but I mentioned about the generous ADU rules that Santa Monica has. Something that I'm sure they'll hopefully mention later, but something that's really cool with Santa Monica, unlike so many other cities, if not 98% of the cities in California, Santa Monica has a much higher height allowance, which makes it much smoother and easier when building on top of a carport or garage. Some cities follow the 16-foot rule, and depending on their interpretation of that, some say then absolutely not, no second floor. Some allow you as long as you engineer it in a way, maybe a couple feet below grade, and they measure from grade to the top plate. But in this case, we don't have to worry about any of that. It makes it much smoother, is all I say, because it's all easy for us, whether we're going below grade or not. We don't care, but it is just much smoother process and less expensive, which is really awesome, because when we do have to go below grade and more excavating, it does add to the costs. So at least in the cities such as Santa Monica that allow for higher height, I think it's 24 feet, 23, I'll get to it. It makes it no problem. You can get a really nice design with higher ceilings. It makes it really, really nice. So, and it saves you money as well for the construction. Let's see. Permitted locations. For single family homes, for ADUs, they are allowing it to be in either the front or rear half, which is nice. A lot of cities do not allow it in the front half of the property. And of course, that's just for attached. So you can, if you do new construction or a conversion, it can be in the front. They are restricting detached ADUs to only the rear half. And let's see, the building separation for detached ADUs is 6 feet. So it has to be 6 feet away from the primary home or building, wall to wall. And then they do have different measurements if you're on a reverse corner parcel or a through parcel, which we don't have to get into right now. If your property is one of those, just let me know and I'll exact measurements. For multifamily properties, the detached ADU may be in the front or rear half, but still following the 6-foot building separation. And then it also has, let's see, on the reverse corner parcel or through, it does not want you to be in any front setbacks if you're a through parcel. And it does not want you to corner parcel located near to the street side. Okay. So let's see. So other standards here for single family homes, again, attached can be through conversions. Let's see. Okay, that's fine. We don't have to. Detached, yes, you can convert a legally existing accessory structure. You could demo an existing structure if, let's say, the structure of it is, it's dilapidated, doesn't look good, it's already falling apart, you have dry rot. If you just want to demo it, we can reconstruct in its exact locations as long as it's the same dimensions. This is particularly a key feature if, to my knowledge, if that structure is located on your property lines. So if it's falling apart and you just want to demo it, you can stay on those property lines and not have to worry about setbacks if we build it to the same exact location and dimensions. Then at least you get a new structure. So let's see, again, it's just emphasizing the 6 feet building separation. And let's see. If you're converting a space, they normally do not want you to, expand that location. Yeah, that is true for Santa Monica. We're doing a project here right now. The owner, it's a multifamily property. They have a detached garage. He wanted to expand the detached garage, make that into an ADU and build on top. They actually said no, because they do not want you, again, to change what's existing. So they said you can convert it as is and build on top, or take it down and then rebuild a new structure conforming to those setbacks. So I believe that is what we are doing. We're in plans right now for that project. They do allow you, though, to expand it 150 square feet, but only for the purpose of ingress and egress. So not just to put a living room or something like that there. Okay, so here we go. Junior ADU is name. So for multi-family properties, again, it's just reiterating one ADU or up to 25%, of course. And it's just listing the type of conversions you can do: storage rooms, boiler rooms, passageways, attics, basements, or garages. And again, no additions or enlargements of the footprint of the existing multifamily property. Sizing. Here is something that is a little bit different than a lot of the cities in terms of sizing. Santa Monica's minimum size for an ADU is 220 square feet. A lot of other cities say 150 square feet, but in Santa Monica, this is something different, 220 square feet. It's not that huge of a difference, but in case you have a very tiny, we get requests for 180 square feet, stuff like that. It has to be minimum 220 in Santa Monica. And let's see. You can ignore the 850 just because if you're going to have an even larger unit, you're more than likely going to have at least one bedroom. So in that case, if your property is the lot size is less than 10,000 square feet, your max is 1,000 square feet for an ADU. If your property is more than 10,000 square feet lot size, then your max is 1,200. So you can basically follow the 1,000 or 1,200 square foot maximum. For an attached ADU, which, let me see here. For an attached ADU, this normally is only a factor for single family homes because that's when you are working with less square footage. The attached rule, they have a size maximum of 50% of the existing floor area. So let's say you have a 1,200 square foot single family home and you're either converting the house or building new construction that you're going to attach to the structure. Your maximum is 600 square feet, so half of your existing square footage. If you have a 2,000 square foot home, your maximum is 1,000 for attached. That normally never really applies to multifamily properties because we're typically working with much larger building square footage for multifamily homes. And again, as mentioned, the maximum size for a junior ADU is 500 square feet. What's nice, the floor area does not include your ADUs, which is great. And let's see. And great, so areas covered by or directly below the ADUs are also excluded from footprint areas. Let's see, setbacks that you should consider: 4-foot side and rear. As always, that is pretty much across the state, 4-foot side and rear. Let me see if anything else is needed. So 4-foot side and rear, 6-foot building separation. So I always say whenever we get a request for either a house or a multifamily property with like a small strip of backyard, consider losing 10 feet right off the bat because you have to build 6 feet away from the building and 4 feet away from that rear property line. So that's 10 feet already to subtract, and then 8 from both sides of the side property lines. So if you're working with a smaller strip, take the 10 feet into consideration, and that'll show if you have at least, we would hope at least 18 feet width. We can do 12 to 14. It would just be very narrow, but you need at least those numbers, 15 feet give or take, for a decent width of an ADU. Let's see. And again, if your permitted accessory structure is on the property line, you can convert it as is. If you demo it and build to its exact dimensions, you can stay on those property lines. Okay, next here is the best part about Santa Monica's ADU ordinance: height. Let me see. The attached ADU, of course, you don't have to worry because you're converting the space, so it will stay as is. But in a detached ADU in Santa Monica shall not exceed 2 stories or 24 feet in height. So this is the best part. We can really get creative with the architectural design, higher ceilings. We can really create light, bright, beautiful. I mean, we can do this for all cities, don't worry, but especially in Santa Monica. It just makes it much smoother when working with 24 feet rather than 16. So something you can also do much easier with the 24 feet is if you have an open lot in the back and you want to preserve those parking spots. This is for all cities anyways, even at 16 feet, but especially in Santa Monica, we can design a new carport or garage with the 2 units on top. And in Santa Monica, at least they will be even higher and nicer. With that in mind, I know we get a lot of questions about easements and the utility poles. So, depending on the utility company, we do have to submit an application for encroachment clearances, but we take care of all of that. And those get filed when the plans do because they coincide. And the utility company will let you know if you are allowed to build in that space, or if they need to maybe raise the wires, if they have wires going to the main building, or if the entire utility pole has to be relocated. So they will let us know. It takes a couple of months for those applications. But keep in mind, when we're building new construction, we have to be 4 feet away anyways from the side and rear. So we're usually not stuck to the utility pole anyways, but it is up to your utility company how many feet they want you away regardless. And then we'd work with them and you in making sure that we can build everything safely. Let's see. Another thing in Santa Monica too, I'll just kind of skip around in this part. They do allow outdoor space, roof decks, stuff like that, which is really, really awesome. But they do not allow it above the second story. So let's say we're going to build you a townhouse style or even above a carport. We could do it above the first floor to have a beautiful rooftop deck. I guess it'll just be the roof of the first floor. Yes, that will take away from some of the living space square footage, but in Santa Monica, it's probably worth it to have that beautiful outdoor deck and living space. So that's really nice. We've been getting a lot of requests for that, and things are looking really, really good. Let's see. Parking should be, so this will be, I'll give two discussions for parking. So it does have the same requirements and exemptions as far as the state goes, that if your property, the main one, if you are within a half mile of walking distance to any public transit, such as a bus stop, you are exempt from any additional or replacement parking. And if you are converting a garage or a carport or any other covered parking, you do not have to replace that parking. So one thing I will just say is that if your property is part of the Coastal Commission, they will also have to take a look at your application, and they may or may not require a parking space for your ADU. What I actually recently heard was they did just start allowing on a case by case basis, no requirement of parking. So that's really good news, especially compared to earlier this year when they were not allowing it. But I will say that if your property is within the Coastal Commission, they do get to oversee everything, and they may or may not require additional parking. I did ask recently if lifts would be allowed, so that way you could potentially put a lift. I don't think they have seen that request yet, so they were unable to give an answer. But they did say in their building standard, it's legal and permitted. They just don't know how the Coastal Commission will perceive it. So we'll see. And that is basically it. No short-term rentals, no under 30 days. JADU, you do have a deed restriction, and you cannot, what's it called? You cannot sell it separately either, and you have to live in either the junior ADU or the main ADU, and that is about it. So I will stop sharing. So that's it for Santa Monica. If you have any questions about any city or any property, feel free to ask. But that covers it. So a lot of overlap with the state law, which is nice, and then a lot of extra positive things, which I'm happy for. The height allowance, those rooftop decks, so you can really build beautiful, beautiful units in Santa Monica, get really good rent for them. And as far as our company goes, we provide all the services needed. Your first phase, which is engineering and architectural design, we do all of that. We submit to the city. We take care of all of the corrections, revisions, anything like that. Prior to that, we work with you on the design, on the layout until you're satisfied, and then that's what gets submitted. And then, of course, we offer the full construction, finishes, fixtures, materials, everything like that. And we work with you to find a package that you like and can make you and your future tenants happy. We provide some market analyses as well to let you know what your options are if you don't know if you should do a couple of smaller one bedrooms or just like two larger ones with 2 or 3 bedrooms. We can let you kind of see what potential ROI and gross income you can have from either configuration. So whatever it is, give us a call. Let us know if you have any specific property questions. If you have any unpermitted dwelling units in Santa Monica, we can help get those legalized as well. So we do those services too, called UDU, unpermitted dwelling unit, or anything like that. We can let you know if it's feasible for your property to get that through plan check and get your certificate of occupancy for the unit. So I will put in our contact info in the chat. This is our email, and you can also give us a call if needed for any questions that you have. And here's our website. And make sure you are also checking out our Instagram. We post a lot of our current projects there all the time, sometimes live, just videos, photos. So you can see a bunch of projects there. But again, give us a call, visit our website, email us with any questions you have. And thank you so much for joining us again today. I hope everybody is having a safe and fun holiday season. I should hopefully see you next week. We'll see. It is the holiday break at the end, but we'll see. And again, if you have any requests for certain cities that you want me to go over, please email them, and I will make sure we do a city spotlight on that city. So thank you again. Happy holidays. This is Helen with ADU1, and I will